Hi guys, woodshead here. I've got a few questions about battoning, and it's interesting because I do quite a bit of it. I used to do a lot of it, but not so much anymore. What people are used to doing, a lot of the old timers, I guess, is using a hatchet. And it's great. If you can pack this into wherever you're going, I mean, it's a good advantage, especially if you're chopping down, like big stuff like this thick, like on a vertical kind of chopping. I mean, if you want to chop down something that big out in the bush, it's great. Carry it with you. But they are heavy, and some of them aren't the greatest. They can also be really dangerous too if you don't have a sharp axe. You've probably all heard the tale. Sharper axe is more dangerous than a dull one, or the opposite way actually. A dull axe is more dangerous than a sharp axe because you're hammering on it and stuff like that, and sometimes you make a mistake and you cut yourself. So a dull axe is a lot more dangerous than a sharp axe. So I kind of got out of using them. And I kind of went over towards battoning. And I got a few questions on what is battoning. Pretty much what it is you take your hunting knife, whatever you use for a hunting knife. This is just the Buck 119 Special. I've battoned a lot with this. Taking your knife and splitting a piece of wood. Pretty different way of doing things. A lot of the old timers might not do it as much, but nowadays I know it's getting really popular with those guys who go on hikes up in mountains and stuff like that. They're really getting into it because they don't have to carry a big axe with them. You just use your knife. And if you have a good quality, a good solid hunting knife like this Buck 119 Special, it works out good, and you can come out and succeed with your adventure. So there's a few things that I look for in a battoning knife. One of them is a long blade. I like a long blade when I'm battoning. Also, not necessarily a fat blade. This is more of a skinnier type knife. I do have fatter ones like this Gerber Big Rock camp knife. I've never battoned with this before, but we're gonna do it tonight. A little bit shorter of a blade, but you got the thickness there, and you got the full tang design, which also helps when battoning. So those are really the two knives I'm using tonight. Really, the only two fixed blades that I own that I really trust enough to do it with. Are really the only two that I really want to thrash on. Like I said, I've never done a whole lot of battoning with this Gerber Big Rock, partly because of the serrations on it, and I don't know how that's going to work out, but we're going to find out. And I've fixed this edge. The Gerber steel is 440 AS, or 440 A, which is a softer steel. This is 420 HC stainless, so it's a little bit more tougher. It's got a little bit more rigidity, and 420 HC is really the only steel I use. But I'm not the expert on steels. I know the basics. That's about it. So really, 420 HC is the way to go. But if you want to go with a softer steel like the Gerber, it's worth a try, and we're going to find out how this performs tonight. Another thing is thickness in a blade. Once again, I don't always look for depth, and also how fast how fast it goes to a tip, because when you're battoning, you're putting a lot of pressure on this tip, and a lot of the times if you don't have a good tip on a knife, it's gonna damage your tip, and you're not gonna have a good tip on your knife. For wood for battoning, I always look for softwood. You can do it with hardwood. It's a little harder on your knife, a little longer burning too. if you're looking for a long burning period. Hardwood is the way to go. But softwood is easier to cut, and it's good for demonstration purposes. Now, you've seen this fell. It's not really cut evenly. And I've got kind of a silly little board here with glue on the back of it. So we're going to give it a whirl. We're going to see how it goes. I haven't got a baton yet. So the baton is basically what you're going to be hitting your knife with as you go down into the wood. So first I'm going to use the Buck 119 Special, just to demonstrate. So hopefully this works out pretty good. So you just hit the tip of that all the way down and just break it off. And there you've got your piece of wood. And then if you want to, you can go again. And usually your knife should stand it pretty well, and you shouldn't get a whole lot of shock, especially with this pyrite handle in the Buck 119 Special. You're not going to get a whole lot of shock through that handle. So that's what you do, and you've got good, nice, small pieces that you can put on a fire. I usually just take off little corner pieces off of it, and then once I get to the middle at a certain point, I'll just split it right in half, and then you can go on doing your business. Not a lot of times will I go straight to a piece of wood and put my knife halfway through it and just start hammering. I'll just take off, little pieces and get through the piece of wood slowly, and hopefully the wear on my knife will be less. So that's the Buck 119. I've used that batoning a lot. You can see the wear on it. This, however, I've never tried this before, so... And plus, it's partially serrated. I don't know how that's going to work out. So we're about to find out here. It's full tang design, so it should be alright. Another thing, this tip goes down kind of quickly, so... I'm kind of in a bad spot there. Couldn't really get good leverage with the baton there. Still pretty sharp after a couple hits. Once again, the longer blade, it gives you a disadvantage. You don't have that same reach that I have with the Buck. So I kind of got to compromise on what I'm going to be hitting, and I don't want to hurt my hand either. So I do not have my first aid kit with me. Alright, we're gonna go right here. We're gonna see how this works out. We're gonna try and split a big chunk off here. The only thing that you should get vibration from is this piece right here, your baton. Alright, this piece isn't working out for me. I don't like it. I had a piece like this. Once again, in this woodshed, I can really choose among the different pieces of wood. Alright, this is prime for this knife. Once again, it's a disadvantage having that shorter blade. You can't get that same long reach that I did, and also the serrations is kind of holding me back as well. I am getting a little bit of vibration from this too, not like the Buck. Push that down a little bit. I'm a little bit afraid of that tip. It's kind of concerning me a little bit, but I can just break that off. Once again, soft wood, it makes it a lot easier, especially if you get in a jam like that. You can just usually just break it down. Get that knife out of the way so I don't cut myself. But this Gerber Strip clothing here. This Gerber just isn't doing it for me. I'm not a fan. Remember, this is the first time I'm battoning, so really, and it's been a while since I've done this as well, so I'm a little bit out of practice. So I'm kind of concerned about the tip. A little bit, and I am getting quite a bit of shock from that handle. So I'm going to go a little bit farther back on the serrations. There we go. That's working out better. That worked out a lot better that time. Just came back on those serrations and it worked out pretty good. So I'm going to give 1 or 2 more hits and I'm going to break out the folding knives. You have to really bear down on your handle as you're going down to your piece of wood too. And every now and again, if you're watching me, every now and again I'm stop and I'll push down on the handle and then I'll keep going. And then I'll push down. And keep going. This isn't the greatest baton in the world. It's kind of uncomfortable, but it's getting it done. Then I'll push down. Especially if I haven't done this in a while, it's testing me. Sometimes it's always best to just come out, get a better grip onto it, take a little break maybe, get a little bit deeper with your knife, and then just redo it. This baton is really sucky. Alright, either that or I just suck at it. No, this isn't doing it for me. Try this. It's a little bit thinner. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I'm not hitting the wood as much. This is really testing it. I can't quite break that. But you get the general idea. Once again, I need more practice. It's been a while. The great thing about this is the coating on this knife. Oh, hang on, I can't see myself. The coating on this knife is staying on really well. After doing all that, I don't see any wear at all on that coating. And what that coating does is it protects it from rust. So I'd go on further, but I really don't want to overdo this video. So once again, I need a lot more practice. It's been a while since I've batoned. So you can baton with a folding knife. This is actually a sheath that I got with a set of multi-tools. It's actually really neat. It's got all kinds of different little pouches and stuff there. So I'm going to take out another buck. I do have my Ruco here. I've never batoned with that either. Watch out for the review. I think I might have uploaded it already. I still haven't fixed the blade on it, so I'm not going to thrash on it tonight. But I'll take this little buck folder. This is 410 light. I think that's what it's called. And what you can do with these little folders, if you have a piece, a decent sized piece, you can baton with it. You just take that little baton. I only paid $10 for this knife, so I'm not too worried. I've already reviewed it, so. If you want to get really fine pieces, there's a split already in this one, so this should be alright. Maybe you're just starting a fire, you want to get really tiny fine pieces. Just take out your folding knife and you can get down quite small. And this buck is taking it excellent. And it's perfect for its capabilities too. Once again, if you want to baton with a knife, make sure it's full. It has a plain edge onto it, and that way you're not getting in the way of those serrations. Once again, stay within your capabilities with the knife. I might have overdone it a little bit with the Gerber there. But you can get these little fine pieces, especially if you're using a flint striker or something like that. You can get these really, the really small pieces that you need to get that fire going. Sometimes you can even just push on your knife. I don't recommend it, but you can sometimes just push on your knife and it'll go down. But it's easier to use a baton because it's a lot safer too. And you can keep doing that. We'll test it a little bit here, see what it can do. Perfect. I'm going to split that like nothing. Once again, this is the first time I've batoned with this knife. This is an EDC knife and I'm really pounding on it, so I mean it's doing good. And I don't feel anything at all in this handle. So you can get it really down and no play in that blade whatsoever. So it's a good little knife if you want to go and buy one. They're like $10 if you get it on sale. So buck is really the way to go. I haven't used a whole lot of Gerber knives, but from what I've seen, you know, this size it could probably do it, no problem, I would assume. Jeez. I would assume. Alright, I got a really good big. There we go. So I'm not too impressed with this Gerber, not gonna lie. It's getting pretty. Having a little bit of problems with it. It should have a lot more capabilities than what it does. But for the size of the blade, it should be able to do what I was doing earlier. So I'm not too impressed with the Gerber. Like the buck. I'm a buck guy. Watch out for more reviews. I'm getting some more buck knives. Trying to get it into more knife reviews. But that's really the buck. 119, the big rock. And we'll give the credit it deserves, because it does deserve credit. The buck 110 light. So those were pretty much the knives that I was using. I didn't really want to get into any others. That's pretty much the basics of what I use. So I mean, an EDC blade, a hunting knife, and a basic camp knife, I mean, you can get done what you need to do without taking in your big heavy axe. So that's the basics of batoning. Thanks for watching. Woodsman 500. Watch out for more knife reviews, more knife testing. I don't like doing it in here. I like to get out in the field and do it. But watch out for those videos. They're coming up. So stay tuned. Woodsman 500.